Hi, it's Dean from the Digital Culture Network, and you, like me, you're probably stuck at home at the moment and you've probably had to cancel some conferences or live events, and you're wondering how you can still reach your audience. I too have had to cancel some events. I had some workshops planned, and what I've had to do is resort to live streaming and producing video content on things such as this, which is all I've got at the moment. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I do it. So whether it's an Android or whether it's an Apple iPhone, I'm going to show you the best tips and tricks that I use to create videos. So this is one of the things that people do a lot, which is basically they plonk themselves in front of a window and the backlight from the window just overwhelms the camera. If you just turn the camera this way, so now that I'm looking out the window, the light is evenly filling the face and giving it a nice exposure, and it's not overwhelming the camera. The camera is able to sort of grasp what's going on without blowing out any sort of highlights, and that's perfect for doing pieces to camera such as this one. Okay, so next up is audio, which is arguably more important than video. Now, the microphone in your phone already is pretty poor when it comes to capturing sort of good quality audio for video. You get a lot of background noise, which is not good. Where possible, if you can, get a plug-in microphone like the one I've got here. But if you don't have that, see if you can find your microphone and your headset that came originally with your phone. So for instance, this is my Galaxy, and basically it's got the earphones plugged in, and from the earphones I can then use the microphone, and that cuts out all that background noise that you end up getting stuck with. So we've covered things such as the placing of the camera so that you get good natural light, and we've also spoke about sort of audio solutions, whether it be an external mic or whether you're using a microphone that you got with the phone. But one of the things that most people get wrong are the position of the phone itself, so whether it's in landscape or whether it's vertical. So if you are shooting on YouTube, then you're going to be doing landscape, and that goes the same for webinars as well. So if you're producing content that's going to be used in a webinar, most people are used to seeing that landscape look. If you're shooting stuff for Instagram TV, then vertical is the way to go. There are software options, apps out there that you can edit, and you can actually reshape the image from landscape to vertical, but you have to pay attention to where your subject is. So if, for instance, you shot over to the left or over to the right, it may mean that you're cropping half yourself out. So it's something to pay attention to. So know where the final video is going to go. If it's going to go YouTube, landscape. It's going to go webinars, landscape. Even Facebook to a certain extent works really well with landscape. It's only really Instagram and possibly Twitter that would benefit from being vertical. So that's something to bear in mind. Okay, so we've looked at the way that we capture the video, the way we position it against available light. We've also looked at what we can do in terms of available sound, and we've also looked at the aspect ratio, whether it's landscape or whether it's vertical. But now we're going to hop into the editing app, and this is where things get a little bit interesting, because you're very unlikely that you've been able to do a perfect take. Most of the time, as I find, you do need to edit it from time to time. So therefore, we're going to need to learn how we can trim up those edits, those clips that we've maybe made a mistake on, where we can then reorder them and put them into a different order, a different part of the timeline, maybe even add a bit of music and some titles, and then export it to either the social media channel of our choice, or to a Dropbox or WeTransfer, where we can send it on to a webinar for it to be included in the webinar. So we're going to look into that now. Now there's various different apps out there. In fact, there's thousands of different apps, and some of the apps out there are great and some of them are pretty appalling. And the one that I found consistent on both Android and Apple iOS is an app called InShot. Okay, so first things first, time to use InShot. So click on InShot and you're greeted with three options. So we want to be choosing the video, and we want to be starting with a new video. So basically here it will have all of your camera rolls, all of your footage that you've captured on there you can choose, and it's simply a case of just selecting the clips you want. So here's some of the clips that I've done earlier, and I'm not going to get fussy. I'm going to pick some other clips of London and some other clips that I've done over here as well. So just a mixed bag of clips. Okay, so here we are in our editor. So as you can see, here's our clips below. So this is me chatting to the camera. There's a time lapse of London. Another time lapse there. A bit of the train. Cool. Some more arty stuff. There's loads and loads of clips that we can edit. And then a bit of Spain. Brilliant. Glorious, happy days. Right, so first things first, let's look at how we can start to edit these clips down. So by simply selecting the clip by holding your finger on it, you can see that you can actually start to move the place head down. And it might be that you have to start playing the clip and just seeing where is it you start to come in. So I start talking there. So I need to start to adjust that playhead by moving my finger along to the bit where I start to talk. So I look at the camera, and just before I open my mouth and say amazing things, there we go. So that's that one there.
Okay, so next up we've got audio. Now
so I do
the
all
audio
talking.
that comes
Great.
from the speakers and the microphone. So next up.
Okay, so that's great. So then we look at an out point, which is down here somewhere. So you can see, look, I started messing it up. I started getting tired. Look at that. So we can then adjust that and bring that down so that you never know how bad I was. In fact, I think I may have swore there. No, I didn't. Definitely I didn't. So there we go. So there's the end of that clip. Let's go. Let's say we want the Spain clip next. So we can drag the Spain clip and put that in order. Once again, we can look at where is it we want to start with. You see it gets a bit jumpy there. So let's get rid of that first part there and move it along. Okay, and then get to that point where we get to that reveal. Yeah, maybe even start further on. So these are all things that you can change quite easy. Also here you've got the ability to cut and trim more precisely. So say for instance you need the absolute moment it cuts, or you want to split the clip in half, you can do that here, or you can cut it, or you can trim it. I prefer the trim tool. So I can, so there's the boat going past. Oh yeah, like the boat going past. But nothing happens for a good few seconds. So let's lose a few of those clips, leave it like that. Then when you're ready, just click the button there, the tick button. Now you will notice the InShot logo is there. If you want to get rid of that, you just simply click on that. You can remove it permanently for $2.99. You can remove it once for free. Or you can upgrade to InShot Pro. Now, I've left that on there just to illustrate how easy it is. You can start to do things such as change the color. So like you'd get on a Facebook filter, you've got the ability to add filters. So you can brighten it, or you can make it sort of like a 1980s video. You can really ruin the image quite a lot. I would always say in these instances that less is more. Less is definitely more. So just be careful what you do. And yeah, so some things you might not want to have on there. So you can say, right, I don't want that clip. I'm going to delete it. So that's just 3 clips that we've put together. One of the options you've got here is the volume. You can apply it to all clips as well. So if you've recorded it all in the same room at the same time, same distance, it's something you can apply, and that way it covers off a lot of time wasted adjusting the audio. But once you've played it back, you might think actually you're too quiet or you're too loud.
Okay,
you can simply just adjust the video clip there and then. And then you can apply that to all clips or just that one clip. And once again, it's the tip. And that's it. And then that's pretty much sort of the basics. There's much more you can go into. You can probably spend hours just messing around with it. But work with the clips you've got, put them into a timeline, and then do this, export. So you can save it, and depending on how long your clips are, and I've only chose these 3 clips because I didn't want it taking too long. But as you can see, it does take a bit of time. So if you're making something for Twitter that's maybe a minute long, or Instagram, that's a minute long, then that's absolutely fine. When you start looking at maybe clips that last over 10 minutes, that's when your phone is going to struggle to process all that information. But it is doable. I have done it before. It's just something I wouldn't recommend maybe editing a 10-minute clip on there. What you'd probably want to do is switch over to a desktop. So transferring the footage to a desktop and using, depending on what device you're using, if it's a Mac, then I would use either iMovie, which comes with Mac, or Final Cut. If you're using a PC, then you're probably better off using something like DaVinci, which is free. Kind of complicated, but it's quite a good editing software. Or the very, very basic Windows 11. This is the problem you get with your free version, which is you get adverts. And if you can put up with the adverts, great. If not, you can just pay to get rid of them. So there we are. So we've got our video. It's all done. And we've got a few options. We can upload them to Instagram, to WhatsApp, Facebook, Messenger, YouTube, and email. But for some of you, you may be looking to be contributing to a webinar or another person's sort of video. So therefore, you're going to look to send it via something like WeTransfer. Dropbox is great, but it can be a bit sort of cumbersome and difficult to find the content. Google Drive is excellent, but not a lot of people have Google Drive. So WeTransfer, from one email straight to another, they can download it onto their desktop and edit and do what they want with it. And that's how I get around that. We've got through most of everything I need to teach you about using mobile phones to create video content. And it's about now that people start thinking, well, what accessories do I need to start really ramping it up and making it look incredibly professional? And most people always gravitate towards something like this. Now, this is what's called a gimbal, and it's designed to steady your images, steady your footage, and on the face of it, it looks incredibly impressive. Hold on, it will look incredibly impressive. Hold on a second. No. Yeah, see, this is the problem with gimbals. Okay, so this is why it's just not great. Happy days. Right, there we are. So this basically takes your footage and stabilizes it. And most people assume that it's a really fantastic piece of kit, and I suppose it is in some ways. If you are looking to do tracking shots of someone, getting out of a car, getting in a car, maybe if you're doing catwalk stuff, where you needed to do these wonderful tracking shots, then this is perfect. But in terms of panning up and down, left to right, it's not as intuitive or as sophisticated as you'd hope. And of course, then there's the size of it. We've got these mobile devices, they're in our pockets, they're easy to use, but yet this means that we need a bigger bag. And when you're out on the street, it still looks a bit, it just looks like you're trying too hard. I got this on the assumption that I'd be doing much more gimbal work, but what I've learned is that actually hand holding it using something like this is much easier. That was over £100, okay, whereas this was 12, okay. Does almost the same sort of thing. So basically, your phone goes in the cage. It's a plastic cage. It's got a little clampy thing that holds it down, and it gives you these grips, which means your hands go further apart from the phone, and therefore you eliminate that little micro jitter that you get if you're holding the phone for a long period of time. So with this cage, you're able to now attach things like a external microphone. This microphone cost about £50. And the best thing of all, you can place it down. It's got a flat bottom. It's actually got holes for a tripod plate as well. So we've just plugged in the external microphone with the lightning adapter that comes with your phone. We've managed to connect it to the iPhone. What this setup is ideal for filming yourself, because basically that directional mic there will be absolutely perfect for picking up the audio that's coming straight from my mouth. I can hold it at arm's length. It doesn't feel tiresome. It's not like I'm holding it like this. It's actually quite easy. And because it's got a flat bottom like that, you can place it on tables. And best of all, if you want to get a bit funky with your shots, you can start doing sort of cool tracking shots, sliding shots like that. So if you've got a product or something like that, you can do those sort of shots. Whereas you try and do that with this one, and it works. 120 quid, 12. This is a microphone that plugs straight into the headphone jack. Now, as those of you who have iPhones know, that won't fit into the headphone jack because there is no headphone jack on most modern iPhones, but it does fit into the adapter that comes with your phone. There is also a version of this that comes with a lightning adapter, but it's a bit more expensive, about £70. But it really is great because that directional mic gives you the ability to sort of filter out any background noise. Another thing that I use, it's like a mini tripod that you keep with you. Normally you sort of rest your phone on it at night, but it's small enough to take with you. So if you need to do anything on the go or around the house, you don't have to get anything big and bulky. Just slide your phone in there. So there's many different sort of solutions out there. Some cost a lot of money, some don't cost any money at all, and they may have come with your phone already. One thing I would say is that it doesn't matter how good your phone is, whether it's the latest flagship model from Apple or Samsung, or whether it's 3 or 4 years old. It really matters that you actually just get started, because more often than not, you will put off, you'll be procrastinating about what you should be doing. And I think really it's just to get started. And I'm going to speak from experience. I already shot this video. I shot it in December when I was on holiday in Spain. I shot it on the beach there, and my idea was to sort of show how easy it was to travel around the world and with just a limited amount of equipment produce pleasing images. And I've done a great job in Spain, beautiful weather, beautiful skies. We then went up to Andorra and I filmed Andorra and I illustrated how great the sound was and how good a directional mic was. It picked up my audio but didn't really pick up the ski lift. And then I went up to northern France area and actually stopped off at Dick and Angel's Escape to the Chateau. And I was going to show how easy it was to edit the video pretty much sitting on their driveway. But what put me off doing all that is that I didn't really feel like I had an ending to the video. It started off big and I wanted it to end big, and it just seemed a bit of a sort of an anti-climax when I finally finished the video. And I sat on it. I didn't do anything with it. I just left it. So all of those days of filming in the sunshine and going up to Andorra and filming in the snow were just wasted. And it would have been beneficial to everyone if this video had been out maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And it would have been if I hadn't have sat there procrastinating about how I was going to make the ending amazing. So my gift to you is my experience, which is simply don't wait. Start producing. It's a great time to be producing content because so many people are going to be trying it for the first time and nobody's really going to judge you. They know that you're not in a BBC studio. They know you're working with what equipment that you've got with you, which in many cases is simply a mobile phone. So use that to your advantage. Make the mistakes, learn from your mistakes, learn how to edit, learn how to shape the story and how to control the narrative, and upload. Discover your audience, and along the way sort of find out more about you as a content creator. And that's all I've got to say. So I'm going to end this video now, but thank you very much. If you like what you've seen, remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the section below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you again in a video very soon.